Today I'm going to replace the capacitors in this Atari 4 switch. I had recently just repaired this one. It ended up having a bad riot chip. If you haven't seen the video, I'll link it down in the description. I also plan on doing an AV mod on this one, but we just need to get it working correctly. Okay, so I've taken the board out of the case. This is the kit that I ordered from Console 5, just a refresh kit. They have a couple of different ones you can get. This comes with everything for every version, I believe. This includes a new 7805 and a power jack. I'm not sure I need to replace the power jack, so I probably won't on this one. But we'll replace everything we can. So we're gonna be replacing this capacitor here. I think I'm gonna go ahead and replace this 7805, and it looks like somebody's got a nut on there. I've never seen that. These usually have a screw that go through that end or a rivet. We're gonna replace this cap here, these two here, that cap there, and C241 right here, possibly. I may hold off on that one because what they sent to replace it, some of these have a chiclet type capacitor there, and this one doesn't have it. So and it's the same with C242 up here, so I'll probably just leave those alone. This is a revision 9 board, so yours may be a different version, but what I'm doing today, you can do this with any board revision. Let's get our caps out here, and we'll set those aside so we have them handy. The kits come with this thermal grease. I don't like to use this. It's just a mess. I have a tube that I'll use. So we'll just set all our parts around up here. And these are those I was showing earlier. And okay, so I'm going to be using my desoldering gun. If you don't have one of these, you could use some solder braid, which I'm almost out, but I have some solder braid here. Also, you could use a manual clicky pump. I do have one here. I hate using those. I do use it if I really need it. But it's just one of these. This one's a Solda Pult. Solda Pult. You know, it's just got suction. But like I said, I don't like to use this. I don't need to. And for something like this will work just fine. So to start off with, I'm gonna set the 3 remaining dust covers that I have in a safe spot so I don't lose them. I have lost them in the past, so. And I guess we can start. Let's start with this capacitor here. You can see the stripe is pointed up here, so the pins are going to be going along this direction. So, and then this is your negative up towards the top of the board. And so we're looking at these pins right here. Okay, that should just pop out like that. We'll set that aside. Okay, so that should be, this is a 4.7 microfarad, 35 volts. That should be what these are, 4.7 microfarad, 50 volts, but you know, they'll still work. Okay. So we've got our stripe here. And we'll just put that in there like this. We'll flip it over. Let's get some solder out here. So when you're putting these on, you want to load up your tip, and I just want to say really quick, you really need to tin your tips on your iron. I do see videos of other people, and their tips aren't. They just look all rusty and stuff. Yeah, they work, but you know, these tips aren't the cheapest. So just take care of them, and you tin them up, and they last much longer. So I'm just gonna load up a little solder here, and then just introduce a little bit. Hold it there for a second. And that should be all it takes. And then we'll get our little side cutters here and just trim the legs off. And then just take a look at it. Just make sure you don't have a solder bridge on there. That feels good. Okay, so next we've got this one here. Yeah, let me get my magnifying headset on here. So that one is also a 4.7 microfarad, 35 volt. So let's find that one, which should be these two pins here. Okay, now we're going to have to introduce some solder to the other side there. Flip this around. Okay, I'll try this again. And so what I'm doing is I'm just grabbing the other side with my finger here. Okay, this one's still sticking. There we go. we should be able to pull that out. That's my tweezers. So there's that one. Now, if you look on here, there should be a plus and a minus. It looks like the plus is over here. So if you don't pay attention how you pulled it out, that's a good way to find it. And then our negative stripe here, we go in like this. And I like to just push them down flush. Okay. So now we'll flip this over. So again, add a little solder to my tip, and then just introduce a little bit of solder. Hold it for a second. And I'm using a smaller tip than I normally do for this. I got a little too much there. So I'll just drag that up the leg a little bit. That's good. Okay. And we'll just snip off these legs. Okay. So we've got two down. So next, let's go ahead and pull this one here. So okay, we should be right here. Okay. Now you can see the direction of the stripe. It's going over here. It's got little arrows on there. Okay. So here's the one it's replacing. You can see it's physically smaller, but it should be fine. And we'll just set that one aside, and we'll just fold these down. And just poke it in the hole. Just like that. Okay. And we'll flip this over. Introduce some solder to my tip. Set it onto the leg. Let it sit there for a couple of seconds. You'll see it kind of soak in like water. So it's like it's wet. And that's kind of what you want. Otherwise you get a cold solder joint. Nobody likes a cold solder joint. Snip the leg. Okay, so now we're going to do these two here. So they say that these two, when they go bad, they affect audio. This particular unit, the audio didn't seem bad, but I'm just going to replace them. This board's had other issues, So I may as well. So we just need to find that, and it helps if you just go like that. So looks like we're right there. And since the other one is right next to it, I want to pull it as well. Okay, I can see it spinning a little bit in there. And we just come straight across here. I can feel it sticking there. Okay. And I'm just going to take my tweezers, and so that one's still sticking on that side. And that one came out. So if it's still sticking, guys, don't pull it out, because you could damage a trace. Okay, so there's that one. All right. So I'm going to do these one at a time. I think best way to do this, just kind of match them up. And then just push them in there. And if you want it to look good, just kind of move it around before you solder that on. I think that looks good there. Now I'm gonna tack that on there while I'm holding it in place. Okay. Okay, so that's kind of tacked on there. So now I can take my hands off of it. Introduce some solder. Hold it there for a second. No, it pulled up there a little bit. I think that's okay. Okay, that looks good. So before I snip those off, I just want to look at it. And it still looks okay. So grab my snips and snip off the leg. And let's put the other one in. We'll do the same thing. Okay, so let's put over and take a look. That looks okay. And then we'll snip off the legs. Okay, so what do we have next? We've done that. We've done that one. We've done those. We've done that. We're not going to do that one. We're not going to do that one. So it looks like we are ready for the 7805. So it is a Phillips on the back side. So let's just loosen this up. Okay. Don't want to lose these. Looks like there's also a little washer. Okay. All right, so for this here, we got these 3 pins right here. Okay. So sometimes you gotta resolder these in order to get them desoldered, and that is the case with this one. So all right. Hopefully these will come off now. Well, that did feel better. So they're still tacked on there. But sometimes you can break them free that way. So we're going to have to lay some solder on these other 2 again. Okay, so that just fell right out. There's our old one. Okay. So next we need to clean the heatsink compound on that. And I've got some 99% isopropyl alcohol here. And since I'm out of toothpicks, I'm just going to use a blue towel. You just want to get the old stuff off. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, I think that's gonna work okay. All right, so now let's take our new 7805 and we'll stick this in here. Get that off. And then just kind of start pushing it down until you can line up with that hole. That looks good right there. Okay. So now we're got our pins moved here. So I'm going to use some of this heatsink compound. So it doesn't take much. You don't need a lot. You don't want it too thick. Okay. Now we'll just put our voltage regulator in there. Then we'll grab our screw. Put that up there. I'm gonna need my tweezers here. For that washer. And we'll grab this little nut here. And we'll just tighten that down. And you don't want to reef on it too much. Okay, so now that we got that on there, let's solder these pins on. Okay, and we'll take a look. That doesn't look very good, but let's just heat that center pin there up a little bit. Okay. All right. Then we'll take our snips. We'll snip those off. Now, one of the things I like about this, so you can see how ugly that is. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to pull the trigger. I'm just going to set this on the pin just for a second. And you can see how much better it looks now. Okay, so what else do we have left? So the power jack, but this power jack feels fine. I don't think we need to do anything to it. The solder joints look good. So I'm not going to do anything with that. However, these are a little bit loose. So I'm just gonna reflow the solder on these controller ports and these switches. So I think I'm done with this. So let me get that unplugged out of the way. So I'm going to flip the board around. Okay. Yeah, the switches actually look pretty good. This switch I may have to replace. Okay. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna leave this power supply on here for now. And if I need to replace it later, I will. Okay, so let me get this back in the case, and we'll get this plugged in and see if we can adjust the colors correctly. Okay, so I've got the unit hooked up, and after you replace the capacitors, you want to readjust your colors. After I got this working, I did a little bit more research on the colors of some of these games, specifically on this test cartridge. And what I found out is I wasn't really doing it correctly. So I'm going to put this in, and I'll show you. I had these two lines pretty much the same color, and it looked like that wasn't right. It was supposed to be a little bit more of an orangey brown color. So I'm just going to turn this until it looks that way. So now you can see green, and yeah, that's just a little bit more about right there. And I'll go through a few of these cartridges again. We'll start with Pitfall 2. And that doesn't look bad. All the different colors, you can definitely see a big difference in them. Let me grab Frogger. So this is Frogger. It's the only cart that I have that doesn't have a label. And that doesn't look too bad. I can see all the colors. Even these logs are kind of a gray color, and they turn green. I can see the yellows. Let's see. Let's grab a football game here. And I just want to see the green. I like to use football because green is really easy to see. I can even see the ball. And the little guys are yellow and not more of a green color, and blue. So let's try one more. Let's just go back to Demon Attack, see what it looks like. And that does look really good. So the picture is also a bit more clear and a little more sharp than it was before. I know when I was testing it before, I didn't have the RF shield on it, but it looks pretty good. There is a little bit of ghosting still, and hopefully the AV mod will take care of that. So that's going to be it for this video. If you feel like you want to try this, it doesn't take long. It took me, I don't know, 20-30 minutes. Plus I was trying to film, so you can bang this out pretty quick. It's easy to do if you've got a soldering iron. if you aren't comfortable with doing it, I'm sure there's somebody in your neighborhood or in your local area that could do that for you. So anyway, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.